Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today should be a good day. The sun's shining and I'm in this 6th generation Maserati Quattroporte. To be more precise, this is a 2014 Maserati Quattroporte S, so it uses a 3-litre twin-turbocharged V6 petrol and an 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox. So far I can tell you, it's definitely Italian, it's fast, it's dramatic, and yet it's still somewhat sensible. This is the 6th and final generation of the Quattroporte, and Maserati claim this is the most reliable generation yet. Maserati reckon that with this model they were finally ready to take on the Germans. Should we see if they were right? Firstly then, let's talk about the way this thing looks. You can't do a review of a Maserati Quattroporte without talking about the styling. I think it's beautiful. From every angle I think it's absolutely stunning. It's so classy and sophisticated and elegant. Even over a decade on, I mean this 6th generation came out in 2013, I think it's still one of the best looking luxury cars money can buy. You get an imposing long bonnet, sculpted size and a short rear deck. It just oozes presence. It doesn't look it, but this car's over 5.2 metres long, so it's absolutely massive, and yet it hides its size really well. It just looks lean and elegant rather than fat and bulky. They've really nailed the design of this. I love the signature Maserati triple vents you get just behind the front wheel. I also love the enormous trident you get at the front grille. This is a car that just tells people you've arrived. Alright, probably late, but you've arrived. Stylishly too. According to the spec sheet in the glove compartment, this one's finished in, let me get this right, Grigio Maratea, which I think sets this off beautifully. When the sun hits it, it almost looks pearlescent. It's such a nice colour combination. The way it sits on its big beautiful wheels with those red calipers peeking through, it's like a piece of art. It's just so classy and elegant and a little bit understated. This is a car for somebody with good tastes. Around the back you get beautiful slim tail lights and a quad exhaust. It really is pretty from every angle. This thing isn't brash, it doesn't scream at you, but then it doesn't need to. This is the kind of car that as you walk away from it, I guarantee you'll turn back for one more look. It's just so beautiful. Moving inside, then it's everything you'd expect from an Italian luxury car. As soon as you open the door, you're greeted with the smell of that real Poltrona Frau leather. Now that's the same company that's used by Ferrari and Bugatti. It smells amazing and it is the real deal. It's soft, supple, and it covers just about every surface. The pillars and the headliner are finished in this beautiful Alcantara. It's really nice and upmarket. This one's got a cream, black and wood combination, and I just think it's stunning. I love this colour interior because it really brightens the cabin. It just looks airy and expensive. I love the little Maserati analog clock you get in the centre of the dash. That's a nice touch. Also, this particular model is a limited edition, and it reminds me of that on the dashboard here. It just feels very special, this. Behind the beautifully stitched leather steering wheel, you get these fixed gear selectors, and they're made from metal, not plastic. So the whole thing feels nice and expensive. They're really satisfying to use as well. You get a proper mechanical click when you operate them. It just feels nice and solid, and they're quite involving. You also get a decent amount of storage. You get a decent sized glove compartment, some more storage down here. You get 2 door pockets up front, although they're not that accommodating to be honest. But you get 2 cup holders here, some more storage here for your phone or your keys or your wallet. Then under here, you get 2 more cup holders and some more space. The doors are also frameless, which is nice and elegant. And I love the fact that the chrome door handles here extend all the way out here. It's a nice touch. So your first impressions with the Quattroporte are good. Everything feels nice and upmarket, until you spend a bit longer in it and then you start to poke around. Then all of a sudden, it feels a bit cheap and American in places. You see, Maserati falls under the automobile umbrella that also owns brands like Fiat and Chrysler. So in some areas, it is a bit naff. In various places, it just feels a bit cheap and flimsy. And I think what they've done here is spoil an excellent car. I was playing around earlier with the cup holders that pop out of the rear armrest, and they feel like the same sort of quality you'd expect from a Kinder Egg toy. If you're a little heavy-handed with them, I swear you'll break them immediately. Then you've got the window switches down here, which look like they've been lifted straight out of a Dodge Caravan. You've got the light switch button here and the engine start-stop button, which again are straight out of a Dodge. The buttons here are also very American, and it's just once you've seen these things, you can't unsee them. The only really good thing about the USA influence is this. You see, behind the steering wheel, as with all American cars, you get the volume controls on the back of the wheel, which is really handy. It's good if you're like me and constantly flick through radio stations. That's literally the only good thing about the American influence. The leather, the wood and the metal are all excellent. The plastics, not so much. Luckily, the rest of the car is that good, it will distract you from the shoddy American switchgear. Actually, before I get onto that, there is one other thing that the Americans have ruined. That's this infotainment system. Now, it's straight out of a Chrysler. It's basically Chrysler's old Uconnect system from the early 2010s. The graphics look a bit dated and the response time's a bit lazy. But on the bright side, I suppose it's simple to use, and it actually works, which is already progress for a Maserati. You get Bluetooth, sat-nav, a reverse camera. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. But in all honesty, as soon as you start to drive the car, you really won't care. The driving position's excellent. You can sit down nice and low, which gives you a good view over that long, beautiful bonnet. The visibility is very good. You get decent sized door mirrors and there are no obvious blind spots. In the back, your rear passengers get loads of space. And when I say loads of space, I mean loads of space. It's almost like an S-Class Mercedes back there. There's loads of legroom. The passenger in the middle might complain if they're a fully grown adult because the seat's a little bit higher, so they will be scraping the fringe on the headliner. I love the fact that you get the Maserati Trident logo on the headrests. It's a nice little touch. It's almost Bentley-esque. If we go back to the boot, that's also quite accommodating. It offers 530 litres of space. You could easily use this car for weekends away or even the odd airport run. It is quite practical. The thing that surprised me about this, though, is the comfort. It's a very comfortable car, this. So it's very stylish, it's practical, it's very comfortable, and it's full of, shall we call them, quirks. Overall, and that's quite a good combination. It just feels special. Even the door handles feel like they've been carved from solid metal. Thinking about it, I think this is what Maserati does best. It hasn't just made a car, but it's created atmosphere. Driving this anywhere really is an event. Anyway, let's move on to the fun stuff. Let's talk about the engine. Pop the bonnet and you'll find a 3-litre twin-turbocharged V6 co-developed with Ferrari and built in Maranello. I believe Maserati designed the engine and then Ferrari built it. So what you get in here, or what you can tell all your friends, is a Ferrari engine. How cool's that? Thinking about it, this might be the closest I've ever been to driving a Ferrari. Let's talk numbers then. This Ferrari-built engine produces 404 brake horsepower and 550 Nm of torque. It sends that power to the rear wheels using this 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox, and it does a really good job. This might sound a little bit ignorant, but I never knew this engine existed. I'd driven a diesel Quattroporte a few years ago. I did a video with that if you want to check it out. But I thought all the petrols were a big V8. I didn't know they did a twin-turbo V6. And please don't think for a second that this V6 is the poor relation of the V8, because it certainly isn't. This will do 0 to 62 in just over 5 seconds, and it'll keep pulling till it reaches 177 miles an hour. So it is properly quick. When you start it up, you get a beautiful exhaust note, and then from the minute you put it in drive, it just wants to go. It feels alive. This is a car that isn't just about outright numbers, it's about how it feels and how it makes you feel. In comfort mode, it is buttery smooth. The gearbox does a really good job, it's nice and smooth and seamless. You barely notice when it's changing gear. It rides beautifully. It goes over these potholes without much fuss. It does cruise like a proper luxury saloon. I wasn't quite expecting that. When you're late for dinner though, you can simply pop it in sport mode and the whole car wakes up. The exhaust snarl. Oh, that's quick. I need to watch my speed actually, because I believe the Australian police are quite keen on it. I mean, of course, keen to catch me, not keen as in egging me on, sadly. What a sound that is as well. It's like a deep mechanical roar that builds into an Italian rasp when you rev it out. It's the kind of noise that makes you want to downshift in tunnels for no reason whatsoever. It's quite ironic really. I'm currently on the GP500 track. They've recently had some sort of Grand Prix event on in Gold Coast, which sadly I missed, but I'm on the actual circuit. Oh, listen to that exhaust. That sounds nice. Okay, it does turn you into a bit of a child, this, because you just constantly want to stab the accelerator. When you're driving the Quattroporte, you forget that you're in a big luxurious saloon car, because it feels more like a Grand Tourer. The steering's nice and light around town, but once you're moving, it weights up nicely, and it has that fluid, organic feel that so many modern cars lack. The chassis also feels well balanced. It's rear-wheel drive, good weight distribution, and it hides its size really well. It's a big car, this, by anyone's definition, and yet it never feels it. It just doesn't feel clumsy. It's happiest though on long sweeping roads where you can really stretch its legs. That's what this car wants. You get the sense that this wants to be driven around the Italian lakes and the French Riviera. You see what I mean though? I'd love to rip this apart for its American switchgear, but the rest of the car's that good. So what that it's got the window switches from a Chrysler Voyager? Who cares? That's the sort of stuff that shouldn't keep you awake at night. Now it isn't razor sharp like a BMW M5, This is a more emotional experience. You somehow feel more connected to this. It almost feels like a living, breathing thing. Oh yeah, that sounds good. I suppose it's the difference between clinical precision and character. And this Maserati is absolutely dripping in character. I've noticed as well, you don't really have to go fast in it to have a good time either. Also, when you don't want to drive it like a lunatic, take it out of sport and sit back and just enjoy the ride. It's perfectly civilized. At motorway speeds, it hums along nicely. In 8th gear, that V6 is barely ticking over, so it is nice and quiet. It's refined, relaxed, and window switches and shoddy plastics aside, the rest of it does feel like a 100k car. Now, if you're thinking about buying a used Maserati Quattroporte, the first thing you need to do is do a thorough vehicle history check. Some of these have got a checkered past, so it's really important that you check it out thoroughly first before you hand over any cash. Otherwise, you might be buying a complete lemon. I've used Car Vertical for years, and they're really thorough and really easy to use. So all you need to do is go to carvertical.com, and don't worry, I'll leave the link below in the video description, and type in the reg or the VIN. And this isn't just a UK thing either, it works in 35 different countries. So it'll tell you if the car's ever been stolen, written off, had a mileage rollback, or has outstanding finance on it. In addition to that, it shows you the MOT history, the ownership changes, the reg plate changes, the average market value, the spec, and a whole lot more. I know that buying a used car can be quite a daunting experience, so you really need to be armed with as much information as possible. This doesn't take long and isn't expensive, and it's cheaper still if you use my promo code HIGHPEAK. That's HIGHPEAK all one word, HIGHPEAK, and you'll save yourself 20% off each and every check that you do. So if you're thinking about buying a used car such as this, it's really important that you do your homework first. It's all part of your due diligence. That way you won't be buying one of these that's had a mileage rollback or has outstanding finance on it, or it's been stolen or written off. Now the next thing to discuss, Maserati's reliability. Maserati have got a bit of a bad name for reliability, and I'm not sure that's entirely justified. You see, this 6th generation Quattroporte is a lot more reliable than people think. Firstly, you've got the gearbox made by a company called ZF, and that is completely bulletproof so long as you service it every 60 or 80,000 miles. The engine itself is strong too. The twin-turbo V6 doesn't have any fundamental design flaws. Most problems come down to neglect or mismaintenance. That said, there are a few things to watch out for. Early cars had a safety recall where the electronic shifter could confuse the driver about what gear it was in, so make sure that's been sorted. Then you've got the suspension bushes. Now, it's quite a big, heavy car this, so it can wear them out quite quickly. Things like control arm bushes and ball joints wear out faster than you'd expect, especially on big 20-inch wheels, so listen out for any clunks or knocks. Then you've got electrical gremlins. Don't forget, it is an Italian car at the end of the day, so it might throw on a warning light or two. 9 times out of 10 though, and this might sound a bit optimistic, but it's usually down to either a dodgy battery or a dodgy sensor. Then you need to check the cooling system, check for any leaks around the water pump or radiator. Then you've got the brakes and the tyres, which will wear out faster than you'd think. When you're looking for one, I'd always look for matching premium tyres. You don't want to buy a Maserati that's been shod in evergreens, Lancels and Linglongs. Not only does that suggest the car's been run on a shoestring, which is something you really don't want, but it'll also affect the way it drives. Most of the owners' reports that I've read, though, claim that these are quite a reliable car. Once you've sorted out a few niggles, then they are quite dependable. The key really is to find a good one to begin with that's been looked after well. That's what you want. If you're buying one, like I say, make sure you get a good one to begin with, then do a Car Vertical check on it, and even do a pre-purchase inspection. I always recommend this, but a lot of people don't even bother. Just spend a couple £100 and get an expert to go and look at the car, and then let them evaluate it for you. I would say look for one with Maserati main dealer history, or Maserati specialist history. That's the kind of car you want. In terms of fuel economy, this Ferrari V6 engine will average about 10.4 litres per 100 kilometres, which is about 27-28 mpg. I think realistically though, you'll be looking at more like 23-24 mpg. Today, for example, I've averaged 14.2 litres per 100 kilometres. So it's not atrocious, is it? Servicing isn't cheap either, but then again, it's no more expensive than an AMG Mercedes or a BMW M car. The other good thing though is that parts are quite easy to come by, so that shouldn't be an issue. And this ZF gearbox is used in all kinds of cars, so it shouldn't be difficult to find a specialist to service it for you. So yes, whilst it might still be an expensive car to own and run, it isn't the financial black hole that many people think it is. This particular car has been loaned to me by Schulz Prestige Cars on the Gold Coast, so massive thanks to them for lending me it in the first place. And also I'll leave their Instagram and website below, so you can have a browse for yourself. They've always got loads of interesting cars in. This is a high-spec 2014 model that's done 95,000 kilometres, so it's not exactly high. And it's for sale with Schulz for $45,000, which I think is a bit of a bargain. When you convert that to pounds, that's like £22,000. You're getting an awful lot of car, aren't you, for 22 grand? I mean, $40,000 for a car that looks like this with a Ferrari engine. You know, a car that was once, I don't know what this would have been new here, maybe $350,000. So $45,000 does seem like a bit of a steal. It really is a huge chunk of car for the money. Thankfully, depreciation's worked its wonders, so you and I can get a bargain. I think as well, for once, you can actually take advantage of this depreciation without being fearful of it. Get yourself a good one with low miles and good service history, and what you've got is one of the best looking, best sounding saloon cars for under $50,000. If you want ultimate precision and luxury, then I would recommend going for a German car instead. But if you want something that puts a massive smile on your face every single time you drive it, then I think this is the one. See? I think to summarise then, the Maserati Quattroporte S is full of character. It's quick, comfortable, sounds incredible, and it turns even the dullest journey into an event. Yes, it has its quirks, but that's part of its charm, and I think the world will be a much duller place without cars like this. Well, I think that's about it, guys and girls. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. I'll leave the links below. Make sure you check out my new second channel, More High Peak. We've got 2 or 3 videos going live every single week with that. So subscribe to keep up to date with that. And yeah, I shall see you next time. See ya.